Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We're going to unpack a truly powerful story today, and it gets right to the core of something, well, something we all struggle with, honestly. How exactly do we block out the overwhelming negativity of the world around us? It's tough, right? Today, we'll be exploring a beautiful narrative from a quiet village that perfectly maps out how we can shield our minds and actually achieve our biggest goals.
Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine standing in a crowded room, or maybe just walking down your own street, and feeling like literally every single eye is on you. Every whisper is about you. Every laugh directed right at your failures. What do you do when the whole world is laughing at you? It's an incredibly painful, almost universal feeling, isn't it? That kind of heavy judgment can just crush your spirit. But as you'll see today, there is a very specific, actionable way to make that crushing weight completely disappear.
Part 1. The Boy Named Raghav.
So, to really understand how this works, we need to look at Raghav. He lived in a quiet little village, and he was known for being fiercely intelligent and just unbelievably hardworking, mostly to support his mother. His daily routine was seriously grueling. Before the sun even thought about rising, boom, he was out of bed in the pitch dark. Then, he'd march straight out to the fields to plow the heavy soil, working until his entire body was just drenched in sweat. And only after all that exhausting physical labor did he come home, wash up, and study under the tiny, dim glow of a small lamp. He absolutely loved learning, but his time was so severely limited. Yet, despite this brutal schedule, everyone in the village was absolutely certain of one thing. Raghav was going to top his 12th grade exams. They believed in him, and man, he gave it everything he had.
Part 2. The Sting of Failure.
But life, as it so often does, threw a major curveball. Exam time came and went. The results were finally posted, and instead of perfection, he failed. And not everything, actually, scratch that. It was just one, single subject. But looking at that number 1 on his results, it literally felt like the entire sky was collapsing right on top of him. All that intense work, and he fell short. But here is the truly heartbreaking part. The failure itself, that wasn't even the worst part of this whole ordeal.
The worst part was the village. The noise, the sudden, suffocating onslaught of judgment. Suddenly, the exact same people who were just praising him were tearing him down. As he walked to the fields, people threw these sharp, cruel words at him. They'd say things like, "Look, the smart boy who failed. He can't even pass one subject. All his confidence is totally useless." The mockery was just everywhere. It was chaotic, it was inescapable. Every giggle, every pointed finger, it felt like a physical thorn piercing right through his breaking heart. He stayed silent on the outside, sure, but inside, the noise was completely destroying him.
Part 3. The Teacher's Strange Challenge.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the bizarre solution his mentor offers. Unable to take the heavy burden of their mockery for one more second, Raghav sought out his mentor, teacher Kareem. "They laugh at me. I cannot tolerate it anymore," he confessed. The wise old man listened carefully and then gave Raghav a totally bizarre task for the next morning. He said, "Take a large pot, fill it completely with milk, and walk through the same path. Not even one drop must fall." Raghav was completely confused. His heart is breaking from the town's cruelty, and his teacher is making him do some sort of circus balancing act on a bumpy village road. No way. But, out of deep respect, he agreed.
Part 4. The Pot of Milk.
The next morning arrived with the sun just rising over the fields. The crowds had already gathered, fully prepared to point and laugh at Raghav all over again. Raghav stepped outside, holding this massive pot filled to the absolute brim with fresh milk. It was incredibly heavy, and one slight tremble meant it spills. On one side, you have the entire world, the villagers lining the dirt path, whispering, chaotic, loud. But on the other side, you have Raghav. Taking agonizingly slow, deliberate steps, he created an absolute, impenetrable wall of inner silence.
As he walked right through the gauntlet of his neighbors, something incredible happened. His reality actually shifted. His eyes were completely locked, fixed entirely on the surface of the milk. His hands, gripping the sides of the pot, became incredibly steady. His breath slowed way down, measuring out every single careful step. And the noise? It vanished. He couldn't hear the whispers, he couldn't hear the mockery. All he heard was the steady, rhythmic thud of his own heartbeat. The faces around him just dissolved into a blur. The loudest, cruelest laugh became nothing more than a faraway, meaningless echo. All he felt was pure focus.
And you know what? He did it. He reached the fields and not a single drop had fallen. When he returned to his teacher later that day, Raghav was completely astounded. He looked at teacher Kareem and said, "Teacher, I was so incredibly focused on the pot that I did not hear anything on the way."
Part 5. The true power of focus. So, the crucial point is what his teacher tells him next.
The teacher smiled gently. "That is exactly my lesson for you." He explained that what Raghav experienced on that walk wasn't some kind of magic trick. It was the actual mechanics of the human mind. When you focus deeply on your work, your goals, your dreams, your purpose, other people's words completely lose their power over you. The noise literally becomes meaningless. Focus isn't just about productivity, guys. It's a shield. It's the ability to make the noise of the world completely disappear and strip all that external negativity of its power. A mind truly focused on its target becomes utterly untouchable. Let's move to and see how this builds into real, lasting transformation over time. On day 1, Raghav discovered this incredible power just by carrying that milk. By week 1, he had resumed preparing for his exams completely free of worry about what anyone else thought. And by month 1, his heart had grown stronger, and the fear had entirely disappeared. Now the village never changed. The mockers were still out there, but Raghav changed. By taking his power back and shifting his attention, he rendered their negativity completely irrelevant. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept perfectly. It's really just like looking through a camera lens. When your goal is in sharp, crystal-clear focus right in the foreground, all the negativity, the judgment, and the mocking in the background naturally blurs out. You don't even have to fight the negativity. You don't have to argue with it or try to suppress it. You just have to focus so intensely on your own pot of milk that the background naturally fades away on its own. So I want to leave you with this question to ponder as we wrap up today's explainer. The next time you feel hurt by people's words, the next time you feel the heavy weight of doubt, sadness, or the intense pressure of judgment, will you hold your own milk pot steady? Will you take a deep breath, lock your eyes onto your dream, and just let the rest of the world fade away? The power is entirely in your focus. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.